Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of hell. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
She's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Live, Love, Thrive Women's Empowerment Hour, brought to you by, of course, 360karma.com. And we hope that you're joining our conversation on Facebook and, of course, following us on Twitter and Instagram at My360Karma. Today I have two fabulous ladies on. They're in a very interesting niche of research and science, and something that's you don't find a lot of women in, so I'm excited to have them on today. Please give a warm welcome to Lisa Tkachuk. Did I say it right?
Thank you, yes.
Yes, and Catherine Enright. Hi, Catherine. How are you?
Hi. Thank you.
So welcome, ladies. So happy to have you on. I know we're going to have an interesting conversation about Catherine's company, or the biotech company that you have with your brother.
That's correct.
And the research that you do for that company, Lisa. And talk about, you know, how there's not many women researchers out there. And so how you're actually doing something to address that and help women get into this science and research field. And I'm excited to talk about that because, you know, I'm always about women's empowerment, especially in industries that are, you know, not many women are in those niches. So, but first I want to talk about where y'all are from and how you guys came together. And it can be further apart. Catherine, you're born in Tennessee and
That's
living
correct.
in New York.
That's right.
There's a dichotomy right there.
That's right.
And then Lisa, you are from Canada,
Yeah.
and go back and forth from Canada to here in California in Ojai.
Mm-hmm. With my research company, yes.
Right, right. So, and I know both of you have an interesting background. So in Tennessee, you grew up basically, you know, in a happy household and
That's
whatnot.
correct. I was fortunate that way, yes.
Yeah, you were. And then, Lisa, you kind of had a different,
Yeah.
upbringing in that your mom was in an abusive relationship. Tell me a little bit about that.
She was amazing. She removed us from not a very nice situation when we were 7 years old, my twin and I and my brother, and was working in the medical field as an X-ray technologist, and then became chief of the X-ray department at Joseph Brandt. And I got to see the first CT scanner with her. She took us everywhere, put us in everything. So she was absolutely, for that time, just extraordinary, strong woman that, you know, broke the boundaries and molded me into what I am now.
That's so cool. Is she still with us?
Great.
She's not.
Okay.
But
Mine
she's
neither.
always
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
Always. She's always here.
I understand. My mom, too, influenced me a lot. She was a strong businesswoman and good person. And it's really, we're fortunate when we have moms like that.
That's right.
So your mom and dad, what field were they in?
Well, my mother was a housewife. She had 4 children. And
Which
my
was
father,
typical at the time.
Yeah, that period. And my father was just a businessman. He had entertainment companies, meaning like back in those days, they had, you know, a lot of real estate that they had family entertainment, skating rinks, you know, that kind of thing back when wholesome was kind of king.
Yeah.
And, you know, very family driven, but also, you know, lounges and clubs and stuff like that. That was a little bit more on the wholesome side too.
Right.
You know, and restaurants, all of that.
So, Lisa, what you're sharing with us is basically that you were raised by a single mom, as many people I know listening to our program relate to. It's a common thing. And it's certainly not an easy road for a woman to raise 3 children on her own. But she sounded like, as you told me, a real Wonder Woman, and really encouraged you to do what you're doing now. And I just want to know, Catherine, everybody has some challenges. What would you say have been your challenges in life to bring you to the success that you have today with your brother's company?
Oh, Gus, you know, everything's a challenge. I mean, I was just fortunate enough just to know, even though I grew up in a great place in Tennessee and it was a great place to be a child, I knew it was also time if I was going to mature from a business standpoint for me it was time to move. So I moved at a fairly young age, like 21, up to New York. and just started sort of, I mean, I don't want to say street smart, but that's kind of what I was doing.
But you got married young, right?
I was married yes, and that's another old
I didn't
school.
know that.
Well, that's right. I move around. No, I was 19, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I was divorced by the time I was 22. But
And you know what? I have a lot of people on
Yeah.
that are from our age group that did get married at 18, 19, 20. It kind of was
that's
a
what you
thing
did
when we were growing up.
Oh, you know,
Yeah.
I went to a Catholic girls' school. You got married.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't like. It's like I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But no, he was a great guy. He really was an artist. You know, and a designer.
And you told me you guys moved to New York
Together,
immediately.
yep.
And it was for you, but it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
He was a Tennessee boy, right?
That's right. I instantly survived and loved it, and it just did not work out for him, just for whatever reasons. I don't know. But also, I was married too young, and we just grew apart, and I wanted to explore, and I was very much about doing everything and anything in New York.
Yeah.
And just through networking, I evolved into my world of branding and marketing. It's just how it happened.
Right.
It was a true organic thing, which I don't think happens that often anymore, but it really was, and it was great.
And if you're going to be in branding and marketing, boy, New York is the place to be.
And certainly at that time, yes.
Yeah.
This is all pre-digital world and all that too, so it was real advertising.
Right. And now you take all of those years of expertise and you're putting it into your brother's and yours biomedical
That's
company.
right.
Yeah.
He owns a biotech firm, and he'd been wanting for years for me to do something with him to produce something out of his lab, and something that had a science background, but also had my expertise in marketing and just being on trend with what's going on. And I said, until you have a really amazing ingredient or something specific, that's we can't do anything, because we're going to be tiny, and we just you have to have that secret sauce, or you're kind of lost.
Right. So I'm super excited to talk about this product that you have out on the market that you've helped with the research, Lisa. And you guys have discovered some sort of, I don't know what it's called,
Exosomes.
Exosome in stem cells.
Yes, they were.
I'm going to let you put it in lay terms.
Well, you can help me too. They were also, exosomes were only discovered. They're in the body. They're in our body right now. There's trillions in our body.
Right. So this is all natural.
It's all 100% natural. But how they were only discovered 30 years ago? Go figure that. I mean, I don't know, because they're they're microvesicles. They're tiny. So basically, to make it simple, we call them the battery of a stem cell. They're the rejuvenative part, one important rejuvenative part of a stem cell.
Right.
So we've isolated those and then tweaked them and refined them on our own proprietary, patent pending technology, and we're now using them in the skincare line first, because that was the easiest to get out, a topical.
So you extract this thing from the stem cells.
Yeah, that's correct.
That rejuvenates, and you're putting it in skin lotion, topical lotion,
Yes, topical.
to rejuvenate the skin.
Yes, to moisturize, rejuvenate, help the skin.
And do this in a natural way with something that comes from our bodies.
That's correct.
Rather than most of the products out there, which are all chemicals.
Right, that's correct.
And then we're putting all these chemicals on our body, actually ruining our skin, right? Rather than rejuvenating
Right,
it.
and then rejuvenating it truly naturally, which is great. And the base that it's in is also as natural as we can get it.
Yeah.
The natural. Then we're calling them next gen naturals, infused with with science, which is your own body. We call it the best of land, sea, and me. So it's a great, and it's a single
that's
moisturizer.
cute.
Yeah, it's a single moisturizer that really works. I mean, Lisa can.
And what's the name of the
that.
product?
ExoSKinSimple is the brand.
ExoSkinSimple.
And it's just a moisturizer and then a body lotion separate. But we're not, our philosophy is simplicity is radical going forward. You don't need 15 products for your face.
Right.
This one has everything in it you need, and the exosomes are the trick. And once you start to using it and letting it acclimate to your body, to your skin, it truly does work.
I think that's the reason a lot of people don't do the skincare thing, because they don't want to use 15 products.
That's
they don't
right.
want to pay for them. They don't want to take the time to use it. So just this one lotion is all you need.
That's
and
correct.
They would get this on your website,
That's correct. ExoSKinSimple.
ExoSkinSimple. Is there anywhere else they can get it, or is it?
Well, we're just getting a lot of calls now, and there's some small bespoke, a lot of independent estheticians are calling us for their
Clients?
their clients, and for their medical spa, medi-spas are calling them now.
Yeah.
And then we have a little store in New York called Knockout Beauty, which is adorable, bespoke beauty shop. So we're calling, if they call us, we're doing that, but we're not pushing retail yet. We're not going that level.
Right.
We're really just doing it organically through digital on our side, and then when eventually we will certainly. We're getting calls globally, believe it or not.
Right.
And then and it's going really well naturally and organically on its own. We're letting that
I could
happen.
imagine Korea be a good market, because
Korea
I've
is
heard
great.
Koreans are the biggest on
they're
skincare.
They're super interested right now. We're just
It's
talking
very
to someone.
interesting culturally why it would be Koreans.
I know, and
Is
I
Kim
don't.
Jong Un using skincare? I don't know.
I don't know, but it really is working. It's really working over there. They did call us directly, and we're trying to cut something now.
Yeah, I wonder what it is in their culture that they're so obsessed with skincare. It's very odd.
Well, they are number one though in the globe.
I
in the
know they
globe.
are. I've heard that. I've read that.
Well, one thing too, they like they're calling me, I know, because they like the exosomes, and then to go into the next phase. What our next phase is, and why we started the skincare first, is because we want to move into therapeutics. That's really the beauty of the exosome.
Right.
We're talking about I'll let Lisa
so,
talk about that.
I'll
I'll jump in
whatnot.
and go ahead.
So they hired you, Lisa, because you are an independent contractor, but your background is that you have worked for Schering Plough, Eli Lilly, all the big firms, and now you do it independently, and people hire you to research and take their products to market, right?
Exactly. So I've been doing this 33 years, and
Is that all?
yeah,
I was
give or
since you
take
were-
a year.
Since you were 5, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
So Catherine and I met, and she let me know about the exosome. So just to give you just a little more information about the exosome, think of it as a small nanoparticle or a little transporter that is released into cells, and then not only does it deliver all its yumminess into that cell, it promotes that cell to release more exosomes, to cascade and create more cells to release more exosomes. But I think the key here is the patent technology that Catherine and her brother have with ZenBio, and their ideas about how we can utilize exosomes in the human therapeutic area, which means FDA approval, preclinical trials with animals, which is standard, and getting this first time into human beings.
Right.
So the key for this is the extraction of the exosomes, introducing those exosomes as a natural product into the body, injectable into hips, knees, shoulders, to create
Joints,
reducing, it reduces inflammation, try and create cellular regeneration and rejuvenation. So
Now, these are stem cells that otherwise would not be utilized, right?
yeah, they're donor cells.
They're donor cells. Because I know some people will be writing to us, what are you
Exactly.
talking about, stem cells? But
These are not
donors.
embryonic stem cells. No.
Yeah, these
Okay.
are sterile things that are bought throughout proprietary ways through these labs. It's used for research all the time.
Yeah, we're
good
using
to know.
adipose stem cells, I think, right? Yeah.
Right.
So these are donor cells. You take the stem cell and you extract this from
the
it in
exosome.
order to make the skincare. But the bigger picture is how this is going to be revolutionizing to people, for instance, having arthritis, which you and I talked
That's
about
right.
is
Arthritis is big.
huge market.
It's like 99% of the world will have, at some point, a piece of arthritis. But it might be your finger, but
Right.
you're going to have it.
Right, almost
And then
everyone.
also, when you think about
I
it,
think
too,
I'm already a
No,
member.
I know, me too. My knee.
Me too.
But it's also things like we hope it will go further into things like even sports injury, that's very joint driven.
Yes.
Which they have,
Different kind of joint than in California, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, but you're right, exactly.
So I'll give you a good example. If you know anything about plasma therapy, where you actually extract your own blood, spin it down, and then you
Right.
re-inject your own blood into your plasma or serum into your knees or shoulders.
Yeah.
To, again, they have exosomes, but not to the exponential point that we have with this patent process through this biogenerator.
That's right.
And we can formulate so many more and put them in it. Think of you have a big bucket of water, or you have a pin drop of water.
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
Yeah.
So the more exosomes, the better healing, the better rejuvenation. So
I love how excited you get about this.
Yeah, she does. She gets worked up.
I know.
But it's also the
No, I
fact
like that. I love what people love what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's important to love what you do.
Sure.
I always say do more of what you
what you
love.
love.
And have everybody else do the things that you don't like, that you're not even good at, but that they love doing, right?
Wash the dishes. Okay.
Yeah.
But
but
it's true.
Somebody likes doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
I do.
That's what I'm saying. It's great, man. That's why you're
There you
here.
go. That's okay.
But no, it's true. But it's really important that and again, this is all in the clinical phase, which Lisa will be running. But we're pretty certain, because we know that they're built to do that from the universe in our body, that there's almost the odds are really with us, really radically with us, and not to
very
mention,
exciting.
and it's a natural healing process instead of shooting yourself up with the drug, which cortisone certainly works. I've had it when I've had bad shoulder or whatever. You just can't do it often, and we also know it has its negative effect.
Is this similar to, I know a doctor that's doing, instead of knee replacements, they're doing stem cells in the knee. Is it similar to that? Or
No.
I wouldn't say so, no. I mean, the same sort of scientific premise behind it would be similar, but I think that the whole point, again, mentioning the extraction and putting together this large amount of exosomes now and targeting specific areas, because wherever you put the exosomes, they stay there. So the potential for this, not only in arthritis, sports injury, inflammation, but in inhaled or nasal spray, because if you can start healing polyps, asthma. So we put together a profile, Catherine and I and my assistant, about all the treatments that were going on for all these different indications right now and how much money is spent. And we decided to go with arthritis because it's one of the areas that really needs to be looked at. But this is why I'm so excited, because I do this because I want to do something that matters and that will help people.
Right.
This is going to matter.
No,
it
that's
does matter already, and it's just going to grow.
It'll have multiple applications. Multiple.
Right,
Once it works for one thing, they're going to know that it's natural. It's going to work for almost anything else.
And your brother discovered this patented way to.
Well,
extract this?
again, they have a biotech firm, so they study cells all the time.
Right.
But they were one of the few. There's only like 20 labs right now that even study exosomes. Think about that. That's like saying nobody. But he's one of them, so that's what's so great. So they've been researching them for 7 years, which means like forever.
Right.
And they have decided when they started doing that, and I'm sorry, hitting. When we decided to do this cream, they developed their own process of not just to extrapolate them, but how to reactivate them and enhance them.
Right.
So that's going to be the patent pending. That is the patent pending part. So it's a little more
Very
complicated.
exciting.
Right. So now it's just how we take them and use them.
So Lisa, you get into this science field. How did you get into being able to work with like Eli Lilly and Sharon Plow when there really weren't a lot of women being hired in that? How did you manage to break that barrier?
Well, it was interesting. I started counting pills in a warehouse. A friend of mine said she needed some work, and she worked at a pharmaceutical company. And at that time, there was a woman president of, it was called ATLASS Pharmaceuticals. And what happened is it was a huge pesticide company out of England that actually decided to buy this drug, this respiratory drug, and move into pharmaceuticals and clinical research. So they had a study that someone had completed, a cost-benefit study, to see by taking this drug, would it save money in healthcare. They didn't design it appropriately. They didn't do a proper study report. So they asked if I could do it, and I went, sure, I can do it. And I went, I don't know if I can do this. Sure, I can do it. So I literally
but sometimes they say, just say yes and figure it out
later.
later.
That's exactly what I did. I took the step.
And then that's how you found out that you could do it.
Yep, I got in there and I made the data 75 to 80% more sound, and they published the paper. And the president of the company, a woman, said, "What are you doing? Would you like to work for me?"
Wow, and that's how
I got in. Yeah.
But you had a background in this as far as your studies.
Yeah, I worked in genetic research with Professor Tkachuk at the University of Toronto, and also Marty Latta, and believe it or not, physical anthropology and archaeology. Wow. And I worked with Dr. Burton in primate studies. So I was always interested in some sort of science field. And it just sort of, unfolded. The path went to the path. Right?
And did you ever at any time feel like there's really not women in this field? How am I going to break into it? Did you ever?
Yeah, well, the rarity of this was that this woman was the president, the CEO.
That's so rare.
Which was amazing. But the majority of the people that I dealt with, it was all a male-dominated industry.
Right.
Now, as the years went on, they realized that women are more detail-oriented, they're very specific, they're meticulous, they care, and they just have a different ability to see things. And all of a sudden, the whole research industry started to shift. And you would see a lot more women running clinical trials, monitoring the data for new study drugs. But still, all the power was up top. The big corporate power was all male-dominated. And I think Catherine could, relate to this based on bringing ExoSKinSimple through into a male-dominated industry.
Right.
But it worked out, and now it's completely shifted. But we're still, as sexism is always a challenge in
Still
everything.
exists,
Still.
yes.
I don't
But
think
we're
it's,
on our way.
Yes.
Yes.
We're on our way, and it is so true what you just said, that women bring a different perspective to the table, and most companies are now realizing that. They say the ones that are the most, research shows that the companies that are the most profitable have women at the decision-making table high up, and that they're actually more profitable when they do that. And so it's really important that companies in all industries elevate women into those positions, because they do bring a different perspective to the table, as you were just saying.
Yeah, and I think women now have more confidence in their abilities, whereas I think 20 years ago they didn't.
Yeah.
But now
I think we're still working on it.
Yeah.
People were raised in a culture that it didn't cultivate that, but more and more, I think with the millennials and whatnot, I think they're empowering their daughters more to say, hey, you can do anything. So that's good. And people like yourself that are trailblazers, that are opening the doors, they're going to ride on your shoulders. So speaking of that, I know that you're interested in creating
a mentorship program.
At your company.
Yes, with ATLASS Pharmaceutical, and it's going to be with Exoceuticals, with our Exotheragen. So I'd like to start working on a mentorship and sponsorship program to bring women into research, so that I give them the opportunity to come to sites with me to help read clinical protocols, learn about clinical research. You have to understand, this is an old industry. It's based on the Declaration of Helsinki and the Belmont Report about people conducting studies on other human beings without their informed consent. And that drove a whole change in the culture about how we test drugs and or devices on human beings and animals as well. You can see now through the FDA guidelines, good clinical practice, European directive, Japanese directive. All of these guidelines came together to protect human subjects in research. Now, women weren't really a large part of that. And now I want to provide that opportunity that I had when I was 19 to go pill counting, whereas I can bring someone in. Now there's school programs for clinical research, but you get out and people say, well, you don't have any experience. So I want to provide that to women. And I think based on this clinical program, and we will be developing a whole clinical program based on our results, it'll be a wonderful opportunity for women to learn some really interesting things.
Right. That's wonderful. I'm so happy that you're doing that. And how would people find out about that program? So, Lisa, are you on social media?
You know what? I'm not really, because I'm just kind of private and people just call me.
Right.
But in order to facilitate this mentorship program, we'll be building a website and talking about this mentorship opportunity and what you can do and who can apply.
And will that be through Catherine's company?
It will be through both our companies, I think.
Companies.
Yes.
Right.
And your website, I know we have it up, but for those just listening?
This is in development, so it will be soon, but we want to make sure that we get our clinical trials up and running first.
Right.
And then that's where I'll be introducing the mentorship program through both our companies.
Okay, great. And your website again?
Well, for the skincare, it's ExoSKinSimple.com.
Is that EXO?
ExoSKinSimple. And then the parent company, which Lisa keeps mentioning, is Exoceuticals. That's where we will be, diverting more into the therapeutics. But that's not up yet to either, because the clinicals are just now being formed and all that. So,
Right.
so my website currently is just ExoSKinSimple, or that's just the easiest thing to approach.
Right.
And I think we'll have that all the clinical side once that's formed and done.
Right.
Because we're just in pre-clinicals right now. Then that will all happen probably fairly soon, in the next 6 weeks or so.
And Lisa, you're on Facebook, right?
I'm on Facebook,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
yes.
and it's
There she is.
Lisa
Tkachuk, yeah. TKACHUK.
Okay, one more time.
So TKACHUK. So Tkachuk.
Okay.
So, and it's a big picture of my little Frenchie Mila and I. You can't miss this. And any women that want to talk about research or any opportunities, I'm going to go out to the schools in LA and the surrounding areas and talk about opportunities for women in clinical research.
And we have some people that are principals and teachers, and I bet they'd like to connect with you on that.
Yeah, and I mean, not just for women either. It's for everybody. But but to really give women the concept or the ideology that, wow, look what I can do, look what I can contribute.
Yes, I love that.
So
I love that. I know someone's a principal I got to put you in
Okay,
touch with.
for sure. I do it.
And Catherine Enright, you too can be found on social media.
Well, I am.
little bit?
I guess I am on Facebook. I don't, and of course Instagram. But yes, and mine's just under my name. It's just
Yeah.
Catherine.
That's
Enright.
you? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that is me currently.
Well, I'm so happy to have the two of you on. This is such a fascinating conversation.
you.
I love that you all are trailblazers and, helping make the world a better place. And I can't wait to get the stuff for both my skin and
Yes.
my arthritis.
That's right.
Yes, me too.
And
Trust me.
you will have it, Catherine.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make it a great week. And be sure to visit us at 360karma.com where we have resources and you can find out about our upcoming events. Make it a great week. Hugs and happiness.